The bright red sports car rolled to a stop in front of the towering glass headquarters just as dozens of employees gathered outside for the company's annual charity event. Cameras flashed, executives smiled, and reporters waited for another glamorous appearance from the city's youngest billionaire CEO. No one noticed the old blue sedan parked quietly across the street until its exhausted engine coughed and died. The driver, a tired single father named Nolan Hayes, stepped out with grease-stained hands and hopeful eyes, unaware that the next few minutes would change his life forever. Before the crowd could look away, someone laughed and mocked him, tossing out a cruel challenge that echoed across the parking lot, saying that if he could start the broken car, perhaps he deserved a date with the CEO. The laughter spread through the crowd, but fate has a strange way of rewarding those who carry dignity instead of pride. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that people should never be judged by what they own, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Journey. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach more people around the world. Nolan Hayes was 36 years old, a widowed father raising his 8-year-old daughter Lily alone after losing his wife to a sudden illness 5 years earlier. Every sunrise began with responsibility instead of rest. He packed school lunches, braided Lily's hair after watching online tutorials late into the night, worked double shifts repairing engines at a neighborhood garage, and returned home just in time to help with homework before exhaustion finally claimed him. Money never stayed in his pocket for long. Medical bills from the past still haunted him, rent consumed nearly everything else, and his old sedan had become both his greatest necessity and his greatest frustration. Still, every morning Lily reminded him that they already had everything important because they had each other. Across the city, 29-year-old CEO Evelyn Carter seemed to live in a completely different universe. She led one of the fastest-growing clean transportation companies in the country and appeared on magazine covers as the symbol of confidence and success. Behind the expensive suits and polished interviews, however, she carried a loneliness that wealth could never erase. Her parents had built an empire but rarely built memories with her. Every achievement felt empty because there was no one who celebrated her without expecting something in return. She admired honesty more than luxury, yet very few people around her ever showed it. The charity event had been organized to donate electric vehicles to families struggling with transportation. Hundreds attended, but most were there hoping to impress investors rather than help the community. Nolan had driven there after receiving a letter inviting local mechanics to volunteer. He believed donating his skills mattered more than receiving recognition. Unfortunately, his worn-out sedan stalled right at the entrance, drawing attention from nearby employees. As Evelyn stepped outside to greet guests, she overheard the laughter. She expected to find another publicity stunt but instead saw a father patiently working on his own car while a little girl stood beside him holding a lunchbox decorated with hand-drawn flowers. Lily wasn't embarrassed by the broken vehicle. She simply smiled at her father with complete faith, believing he could fix anything. Nolan opened the hood, listened carefully to the weak clicks coming from the engine, borrowed a simple wrench from another mechanic, and began working with remarkable confidence. There was no dramatic performance, no angry speech, and no attempt to prove anyone wrong. His hands moved with quiet experience earned from years of solving problems others had given up on. Within minutes the engine came alive with a smooth, powerful sound. The entire parking lot fell silent. The silence became even deeper when several professional mechanics examined the engine and realized Nolan had discovered a dangerous wiring fault that could have caused a fire. What everyone else dismissed as an old worthless car had become a demonstration of extraordinary knowledge. Victor's smile disappeared instantly. Evelyn walked toward Nolan, not with arrogance but genuine curiosity. Instead of mentioning the insulting joke, she thanked him for volunteering and asked if he would inspect several donated vehicles before they were handed to struggling families. Nolan accepted immediately, explaining that every family deserved safe transportation. He never asked who would notice his work or whether anyone would remember his name. Throughout the day Evelyn secretly watched Nolan interact with volunteers, children, and elderly guests. He repaired small problems without charging anyone. He patiently explained mechanical issues to young apprentices. He even gave away the lunch he had packed because he noticed another volunteer had skipped breakfast. Every act of kindness seemed completely natural to him. Later that afternoon, Lily wandered through the event, fascinated by the electric vehicles on display. Evelyn sat beside her and asked what she wanted to become when she grew up. Lily smiled and answered that she wanted to become someone who made her father proud because he had already spent his whole life making her happy. Those simple words struck Evelyn harder than any business speech she had ever heard. Curious about Nolan's life, Evelyn quietly learned that he had once been one of the brightest engineering students in the country. His dreams ended when family responsibilities forced him to leave university after his father's death. Years later, his wife's illness consumed every remaining savings account he had built. Instead of becoming bitter, he simply worked harder. The next morning, Evelyn visited the neighborhood garage where Nolan worked. She arrived without cameras or reporters, wearing ordinary clothes so no one would treat her differently. She watched Nolan repair vehicles for customers who often could not afford full payments. Sometimes he accepted homemade food instead of money. Sometimes he refused payment entirely if he knew the family was struggling. She finally understood that success could never be measured by bank accounts alone. Weeks later, Evelyn announced a nationwide apprenticeship program designed to discover overlooked engineering talent. The first person invited to help design the curriculum was Nolan Hayes. Many executives objected, arguing that a garage mechanic lacked prestigious qualifications. Evelyn simply placed Nolan's detailed repair reports on the conference table. His innovative solutions impressed every engineer in the room. His knowledge had never disappeared, it had simply never been given a stage. Nolan accepted the opportunity only after ensuring he could continue spending evenings with Lily. No promotion was worth sacrificing the promise he had made to always be present for his daughter. Evelyn admired that decision even more than his intelligence. Months passed. The apprenticeship program transformed hundreds of lives. Young mechanics from poor neighborhoods gained scholarships, professional training, and careers they once believed impossible. Nolan became known not as the man with the broken car but as the mentor who believed every student deserved patience before judgment. Victor Rowan eventually apologized publicly for humiliating Nolan that day. Nolan accepted the apology without anger because carrying resentment had never repaired a broken heart. Forgiveness, he believed, was another form of strength. As Nolan and Evelyn worked together, mutual respect slowly grew into genuine affection. There was no fairy tale romance built on wealth or appearance. Their connection was built on countless conversations about responsibility, family, sacrifice, and hope. Evelyn discovered someone who saw her as a human being rather than a billionaire. Nolan discovered someone whose heart had always searched for authenticity beneath success. One sunny afternoon, nearly a year after the charity event, the company held another gathering in the exact same parking lot where the cruel joke had first been made. This time hundreds of apprentices stood proudly beside the vehicles they had restored. Families received safe transportation, children smiled with excitement, and volunteers celebrated together. Standing before the crowd, Evelyn smiled warmly and admitted that the greatest investment her company had ever made was believing in someone others had laughed at. She thanked Nolan for reminding everyone that true character shines brightest when life is hardest. Nolan looked toward Lily, now happily laughing with friends, and realized that every painful chapter had quietly prepared him for this moment. His greatest achievement had never been fixing engines or earning recognition. It had been raising a daughter who believed kindness mattered more than status. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your loved ones, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Journey. Your support encourages us to keep bringing inspiring stories of hope, courage, and second chances. Special request: before this story ends, tell us in the comments, what is one act of kindness that changed your life forever? Your story may inspire someone who is struggling today. As the afternoon sun filled the parking lot with warmth instead of judgment, Nolan started the same old blue sedan one more time. It was still old, still imperfect, and still carried the scratches of difficult years. But now it also carried proof that dignity can silence mockery, humility can overcome pride, and kindness has a way of opening doors that money alone never can. Sometimes life doesn't change because the engine finally starts. Sometimes life changes because one person chooses to see the value hidden beneath the dust, reminding all of us that every human heart deserves respect before it deserves recognition.